Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's live stream. I am very excited to be here. I am streaming live from my studio office in good old Louisville, Kentucky, and it's a bit of a somber night because it's a sad day because we lost a great American hero, Colin Powell. Colin Powell was a general who basically defined a generation of service people. Like, I remember joining the Army and being like so enthusiastic to serve under Colin Powell because of his epic presence of being a general. Now, everyone remembers Schwarzkopf and Powell, during Desert Storm, but Powell was also served in the highest levels of politics, and I think, unfortunately, anytime you go into politics, that's what people remember you for. But I'll always remember General Powell as being a grunt like the rest of us. And whenever he talked, he made us feel like, one day we could be somebody special too. So to Colin Powell, please raise your glasses with me and cheers to the general who never gave up on his soldiers. Cheers, General. Well, that was good. In case you're wondering what I toasted him with, I toasted him with Wild Turkey bottled and bond. Just a tasty dram. So, about tonight. I will not be observing the comments tonight. The reason why is anytime I do one of these live streams, people always ask me, hey, how can we find out what you're tasting while you're tasting it? And the only way that I can pull this off is by having somebody in the chat who knows what I am tasting. And so YouTube member and, prominent bourbon enthusiast Gary Penna is in the chat tonight, and he knows everything that I'm tasting in the order. I don't know what I'm tasting. So this is the envelope of what I will be tasting tonight. And so I will not be observing the chat because I don't want to see what it is, that I'm tasting in that moment. Also, I really, 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 really want to focus, and I want to nail this tasting and do it right. Now, if you don't know Gary, make sure you're going on over to Instagram and checking him out. He's at Uncut in Unfiltered. So really great follow. He is the leader of the Bourbon Club of Arkansas, and just an overall great dude. He is also an Afghanistan and Iraq war veteran. He flew C-130s, which, I was in a couple of those that nearly blew up. So I hope Gary never had to evacuate a whole troop of soldiers like we had to, because that sucked. But anyway, once again, to Colin Powell, rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. But tonight is a special tasting, very, very special tasting. It is the first of my annual Buffalo Trace Antique Collection blind taste-off. Now, in years past, what I have done, I'd either just write about it and it would be published in a magazine I wrote for, or for Forbes or something like that. Then when I started getting into YouTube, I would do blind flights of BTAC, and I would just put the whole BTAC collection in with something like Rare Breed and a few other things, and wherever things fell, they fell. This year, I did something different. I reviewed them individually, and then I asked the subscribers or listeners or viewers to nominate what they think I should taste them against. I would then take the pool of the things that were most widely nominated and put it in the YouTube member community and allowed them to vote. And so that is what we have here today. Remus Repeal Reserve, the 5th edition. So this is the V of this is coming out of Indiana, which is now, it's called the Rawson Squibb Distillery, formerly the MGP Ingredients Distillery. If you want to learn more about that name change, just head on over to fredminnick.com and check out that story. We got Calumet 15-year-old. Now, I tasted this with Jay Cutler. You may have seen that episode, and it was spectacular. We've got Four Roses Small Batch Select. I love this one. I think in 2019 it finished 4th or 5th in my blind tasting. And then we have a fan favorite in the Knob Creek 12-year-old. Now, once again, these were all nominated by people who had watched the video and then voted on by the YouTube membership community. Now, if you want to make sure that you never miss one of these videos, click subscribe, become a subscriber, and that way you get notified. Make sure you hit the notification button of when these videos drop. Also, if you'd like to become a YouTube member, click join, and then head on over to the YouTube community where we do a lot of crazy things, and they get to have a lot of input into what I do in the world of bourbon. Now, of course, tonight we are talking about Eagle Rare. Now, this is a little bitty sample bottle that I got, but I want to give you some history behind Eagle Rare and the importance of it in the bourbon community. Eagle Rare is not a brand that gets enough recognition or credit for its place in the rise of bourbon. Now, it comes out in 1975. So Seagram's is creating a new brand of bourbon at a time when bourbon was really dying. Seagram's, of course, was the house of blends. This is the parent company that's famously known for taking Four Roses off the U.S. market and focusing on Europe so they could put all of their concentration on Crown Royal. Now, from a business perspective, probably not a bad idea. But one of the things that Seagram's did is that when they were starting Eagle Rare, they reached out to the National Parks Foundation, and they started working with conservationists around the country to improve the habitats of the bald eagle. So Eagle Rare, while the bald eagle was in a very dire time of its existence in the United States, Eagle Rare and Seagram's raised a lot of money and awareness for basically improving the habitat and the livelihood of bald eagles everywhere. And of course, bald eagles, that's our American bird. I mean, you see that and you think, freedom, woo, America, I love America. And so Eagle Rare was really created to, symbolize and capture, that freedom feeling. And today, it's owned by Sazerac. I'll get more into when that happened in a minute. And they honor veterans all the time. So the meaning and the symbol of Eagle Rare's very beginning from 1975 continues today. And they honor people who have made an impact in their communities. And they always put out incredible press releases and stories about usually like a veteran or a sheriff or a community organizer, someone who's really, really impactful. And so Eagle Rare is a really important brand from a community perspective. It's one of the first ones that we have seen that was designed to give back, and it continues to give back. And so this bottle right here was the original bottle. So Eagle Rare was distilled and made, bottled, barreled, and all that at what is now Four Roses. So back then it was called the Old Prentice Distillery. Now Seagram's was a very strange company. Seagram's was never a bourbon company. It was never an American whiskey company. And so it was kind of bizarre that Seagram's did this. And, you might ask yourself, well, why didn't they just bring back Four Roses? Well, by this time in the 1970s, Four Roses was such a bastardized brand in the eyes of the company as well as the eyes of the country, because they took Four Roses and turned it into a blend. Not the kind of blend of straights that we're seeing from High West and Barrel today, but blends that had neutral grain spirit in them. So really, really rot gut stuff. And so Four Roses had a bad image in both the United States and within the company of Seagram's. So they created Eagle Rare. And Eagle Rare was just kind of like a ho-hum brand. But how they created it was very, very different. This was one of the early products. They didn't call it this, but they used the technique of small batching, where they batched in choice barrels, and they would have their marketing campaign in the 1970s was that only 1 out of 37 barrels are good enough to go into Eagle Rare. They weren't calling it small batching then, but that technique, that early kind of ingenuity, that really important enthusiasm toward creating quality versus volume was where kind of Eagle Rare stood in the growth of what would become the return of bourbon. And so while they don't get a lot of credit for that, they were a part of that early rise of what we now know as small batching. Now, the Seagram's company gave it a little bit of a nudge in the 70s, and they just kind of like, all right, we're back on to blending, we're back on to Crown Royal, and they just kind of like moved on. So in 1989, they basically sold off Eagle Rare and another little brand called Henry McKenna. That's right, Henry McKenna and Eagle Rare were both distilled, marketed, and all that jazz by Seagram's. So at one point in time, this was right next to Eagle Rare in the Seagram's lineup. Now, Heaven Hill came in and bought Henry McKenna, and Sazerac came in and bought Eagle Rare. That happened in 1989. So Sazerac has owned Eagle Rare since 1989. However, the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection does not come out until the year 2000. And in that inaugural year, Eagle Rare is a 17-year-old. And the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection has consistently put out an Eagle Rare 17-year-old. However, I will say that it is usually my least favorite of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. I have found it to be over-oaked, often soft, and just I have not meddled it in blind tastings before. I have been very down on it in years past. And this is the year where I tasted it and I was like, woo, this is good. This is where we are turning the table. So I am excited to taste tonight to find out where this hits. Now, these are products that you can find. I will tell you, you're going to have to work a little hard to find the Remus Repeal Reserve. You're probably going to have to spend more than $100 to get the Calumet 15-year-old. I think I paid $109 for this in Costco. You should be able to find the Four Roses limited edition, not limited edition, small batch, the Four Roses small batch select in most stores. And Knob Creek 12-year-old, coincidentally, you got to look for it in some markets, but in other markets, it's just sitting right there. You just walk in the store and boom, it's right there. So I got this, at Kroger. So real easy find for me. And I will tell you that this is a lineup that I don't know which way it's going to go. I'll tell you that they're all really fantastic. And I am looking forward to this taste-off. Now, as I mentioned at the top, I will not be observing in the comments. Gary Penna has the numbers associated with what I'm tasting, and it was very important to me that whether you watch this live tonight or you get it on the replay, that you could see exactly what I was tasting in the chat. So if you're watching this on a device, make sure you have a chat on another device so you can see what I am watching. If you're watching this on the computer, you should see the chat on the side. However you do your chats, we are mandating that you are a subscriber to chat. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love you to become one. It's no big deal if you're not. But I will say the reason why is that keeps out a lot of riffraff. In years past, when I've done these, we've had some really cantankerous people come on, and they don't even talk about whiskey. They make really bad comments just about people, and we don't need that. So, and one of the ways that we've been encouraged as YouTubers to cut back on those unwanted comments is to make people be subscribers to that. So, that's the only reason why we're doing that tonight, not because I'm trying to get my numbers up or anything like that. But okay. So here we go. Let's start with glass one. Glass one. Oh boy. Here we go. I'm actually, you know what's funny? Today, we got baseball going on. We got Monday Night Football on, and I'm doing this. I haven't been this excited about it. Excuse me, about a tasting. I don't know how long. Whew. Okay, so this is coming off really fruity, really floral. Smells like some caramelized honey. Real spicy. Real spicy. Talking chocolate, cinnamony kind of spice. And then it's like sitting right there in the middle of my chest. Just going down real slowly. A little bit of a Kentucky hug. It's not a burn, but it's like it's a welcome peppery sensation, like all the way down. So really spicy and a lot of sweetness to it. Floral, fruity, really good. Really good first taste for glass one. So Gary, if you haven't already, put that in the chat. Let folks know what that one was. Again, I am tasting blind. Allison DeLand, who works with me, bottles these. And then I have only Gary and Allison know what these are. So I'm going to glass number 2. And still feel glass 1 on my palate. So I'm going to rinse it out with some soda water. Now, palate cleansers are really, really important when you're doing a blind tasting. But in a matter of like creating this live stream, I don't feel like you need to see me eating things and going through my full-blown routine. So I have kind of a condensed version, and soda water or Perrier or Pellegrino or something like that, like some kind of like carbonated mineral water. That does really, really, really well to cleanse your palate. You just put a little bit on there, swish it around, and those bubbles just kind of, take off whatever's on your tongue. Yeah, there we go. Good, crisp, clean tongue now to go to glass number 2. Glass number 2. Woo! That smells good now. I'm talking about cigar box. I'm talking about fresh caramel chew. Just unbelievable smells. Oh, man. That smells amazing. Ooh. Boy, 2 is rocking me. It's just getting right up on my tongue like butter, dripping on down, curling up underneath. And it's sweet all the way through. Now, there's some unique hints of like strawberry, like a strawberry dipped in like a vanilla icing. And then there's just like this touch of like nutmeg, but some dried apricot in here. And, this is like number 2 is like, I want to smoke a cigar with this. I want this to be an incredible cigar blend there. I want to smoke and taste this with a cigar. I just got notification from Gary that he did post what these are. I do not know what these are, but if you all know, keep talking about it in the chat. But I want to tell you right now, whatever 2 is, like, I want to take this away, call up my buddy Ollie and say, hey, let's smoke those Cubans you got in the humidor right now, or those good Nicaraguans you got in the humidor. This is an exceptional campfire sipper with a cigar with your buddies. Yeah, 2 is a special occasion bourbon. I feel like one is definitely very, very good I'm going to have to come back to it because it's it definitely is in contention. But right now, 2 just kind of shocked my palate. It shocked my palate in a good way. So I want to cleanse my palate. Go on to glass number 3. So we're redoing our basement right now, and we're doing our basement. We're not redoing it, and there's like all this drywall and dust everywhere, and I had to move a bunch of bottles, and I broke a bottle of mead. So like I make mead, or I used to. I don't do it really anymore. And that permeating honey fermentation smell is in my head. It's been in my head all day. So it's so nice to smell whiskeys and get that out of my head, because it's not a really pleasant smell when you break a bottle of mead. You're sweating all over. You're trying to move everything, and the mead's getting right up underneath the drywall, mixing in with the dust. That doesn't smell good. No, it does not. And then you got to think about cleaning it up, and that makes it worse. So thank God I'm here at whiskey. All right, glass 3. All right, I see what you're doing here, glass 3. Definitely have some fruit going on. Some leather. Huh. A nice little cornbread and butter approach, some salt and pepper. There's just a touch of what is that note? There's a slight touch of something I can't put my finger on. It's in the mid palate toward the back. I want to say, this is coming off a little like a bananas, like a little bit like a banana. There's some sweetness there to it, but then maybe a banana nut bread. I think that's the best way to put this. This has like a banana nut bread note to it. And I'm not saying I like it or don't like it. I'm just saying it's there. But after that note, it's a little more flat than I'd like. It's not, the 2 previous. And again, I will taste these just to make sure, one whiskey didn't overtake another, stay on the palate. But I will say that this has been the least palate moving of the 3 I have tasted. So it's like a mid palate to a slight tip of the tongue kind of movement, nothing under the tongue, nothing in the back, just kind of there, so it kind of splashes and goes. So we'll go to glass 4, and I have a feeling that 3 will be out of contention. I'm fairly certain that 1 and 2 are going to be up there, but 3 just kind of did not live up to what the other 2 were. And again, I have no idea what these are. They're in here. You all are, you got Gary in the comment or in the chat now, telling folks what they are as I go to glass 4. I am not monitoring comments tonight because I want to see. I want you all to see what I am tasting while I'm doing it. And when I am completed when I have completed my tasting, I will check my phone. Gary's going to text me a couple of questions, and he's going to send me a bunch of questions, and I'll read what I can in a moment. So we will have some interactiveness here. I just want to focus on the tasting and let you all see what I'm tasting while I'm doing it. And then when it's all said and done, I'll grab the computer and then I'll get in the chat with you. Glass 4. Glass 4 is coming in strong. Glass 4 is most definitely kind of like this French bakery. You walk in there, you can smell the sweets, you can smell the pies in the ovens, you can smell the croissants, you can smell a lot of things. And it tells me that this isn't going in the right direction. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, that's good. Oh, that is right there on the palate, starting on the tip, moving all the way to the back, tickling the roof of my tongue a little bit, just giving me a little spice in my throat. We have taste buds in our throat, and when you feel that little tickle in your throat, those are often your taste buds saying, like, man, this is some good shit. And I think that's what we have here. Glass 4 is an exceptional pour. It's got a lot of complexity to it, and it's definitely going to give 2-in-1 a run for their money. I'm going to go to glass 5 now. Kind of, of all the noses, this one comes off a little offensive. This has got like... This nose is not coming off... like if I were going on nose alone, 5 would be in last place. This does not smell good. It smells like dust and barnwood and maybe a moldy, rotten banana. No kidding. I don't know what 5 is, but it ain't looking good on the nose. Here's the palate. Well, the palate just went and saved the day. That's pretty damn good. Yeah, on the nose, it's kind of moldy and barnwoody and funky and just not there on the nose, but on the palate, it gets right up on the sides of the tongue, where a lot of bitterness notes are, and it's just pounding in there, kind of like a lot of nuttier bitter notes, and I dig that. And there's like a nice little subtle hint of cinnamon coming in, and some cardamom and nutmeg. So 5's got a little something going on, but I don't know if it's got what it needs to weigh up to 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple questions here. Gary, if you want to go ahead and send some questions over my way, while I am kind of resting my palate before I go in for round 2, I will happy to answer those. Now, what I have coming up next is I will taste off the William LaRue Weller. The YouTube members are voting on those right now. So I do believe, though, the consensus has already been met. And so I will be posting soon the William LaRue Weller taste-off. And then I've got the Thomas H. Handy that is also being voted on right now by YouTube members. So if you would like to have your voice heard in terms of what I taste those up against, become a member and go on over there into the poll. So click community, and you should see the poll, and go ahead and vote on those. So as we wait for some questions here, I don't see those coming in yet, but click those. Go ahead and let me know what you would like. So so this is coming from Kirk Pinner has asked a question. Has anyone had Remus Volstead? I have had that. Anything coming out of MGP is usually pretty doggone top notch. It's a good distillery. Of course, that's where Smoke Wagon gets all of their stuff. It's also where a lot of distilleries basically have made their names from MGP, related whiskey. So anything coming out of MGP has got a taster's chance, to be a major contender. Matthew Tomlinson, what was the reasoning why these were picked? Like I said, these were my rationale to the people who watch those videos, was that I want something that is obtainable, something that you may have to look for a little bit, but it's definitely obtainable. As you know, the Eagle Rare 17-year-old is likely not that obtainable. It's not going to be it's going to be difficult to get it. And so these bottles up here that you see, they may be behind a glass case at Total Wine or at Kroger or somewhere like that, but you will be able to find them. You just have to put in a little effort and maybe a little money. But I wanted to give people a selection that they could possibly go and buy. Now, so those were the nominees in the videos in the comment section. I would take those ones that were most nominated, and I would put it into the YouTube membership community, and they voted for it. So that's why those are here tonight. Super Dram, when was the last time you tasted marzipan in a whiskey? I tasted marzipan just the other day, I think. So there's actually a chemical reason as to why marzipan appears. It has to do with the conjoining of the alcohols inside the barrel. So that is a legit note. It's not something that was just kind of made up and thrown out there. There's at the high levels of distilling, these notes are mapped out and traced and chemically analyzed and everything. So, marzipan's in there, coconut's in there. So there's a lot of notes like that. But I think there are two brands that consistently have marzipan in them for me. Booker's from Jim Beam and Barrel Releases. So it was actually at a charity blending exercise at Barrel that I did taste marzipan. So I'm going to have a quick switch here, and then I'm going to get into the second tasting round here and eliminate a couple. So here we go. Back to one. I like one. It's definitely got, it has this beautiful kind of spiciness to it. Spicy, floral, fruity. I mean, that's a nice trifecta right there. It's so good. One is in the running. Going to two. Oh, just caramel bomb city. I don't need to taste two again. It's staying in. Three. Look, three is fine. Three is definitely a bourbon I would recommend to someone. I think it is just fine. It is something that you drink. but it's not something that is in the league of what we have here tonight. So I don't know what 3 is, but 3 will be eliminated. I don't know what place it'll be. We'll find out if I will put it ahead of 4 or 5. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! 4 so smells good. Yeah, definitely it's not beating 4. Man, 5 just smells funky. It smells funkified on up in there. Less funky on that smell. Okay, so 3 is out. 3 will be your 5th place. So whatever 3 is, it is out. So inevitably, what I have here, I have 4 elite bourbons. 4 elite bourbons. If I'm wanting a spice bomb, number 1 is where I'm going. If I'm wanting complex caramel stuff, I'm going with 2 or 4. And if I'm wanting to be out on the edge and, be a little crazy, I'm going with 5. So we have quite the taste off here, and any one of these 4 could win on any given night. The only one that was on this table that was not in the league of the other 4 was Glass 3, but again, it is highly drinkable, and I if you buy it, you may like it. And one of the things you have to remember is that I am just one taster, and you got to taste for yourself. You got to taste for yourself, and you can't rely on my opinion or anyone else's opinion. Make up your own mind. Use people like me as a guide, but at the end of the day, your palate matters far more than mine does. And used to, you can go in a bar and get things for pretty inexpensively, a little bit more difficult, but taste for yourself. But 3 for me, out. So now I am pretty sure that I have to make a decision of what is to go next. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the time to answer some questions, let my palate rest a little bit, because this is like this is laser cutting here. Okay, looks like we have some good questions coming in here. JR30, looking for a caramel brown sugar bomb. Well, I would say one that's available. The Knob Creek family's usually got a nice caramel bomb in there. The 9-year-old is a bit more cornbread and brown sugar. If you want to stay in that caramel bomb arena, I hate to say it, but William LaRue Weller typically is, and that's going to be impossible to find. And let's see what else we got in that world. I'd have to. I tell you what, hit me up on fredminnick.com, ask me that question, and I'll send you a list based on my past reviews. Apologies for that extra step, but just in my brain here, I know I got about 20, and I can't come up with them right now. Montana Bowens, will there be a Mocha Madness style bracket with the new Maker's Private Select? I like that. It's a lot of work, but I like it. I'll do it. Actually, what I would like to do is I would like to do a bracket of bourbon clubs. I want bourbon clubs to send me their best pick, and I want to put it up against other bourbon clubs. That's what I want to do. So we'd have like the Four Roses tournament. We would have the Knob Creek tournament. That would be a lot of fun. Frank Gastelum asks, does Fred have any info on the age and warehousing of the new Costco Kirkland brand? Now, I do, but I will tell you, I have tasted that thing a few times. I don't like it, and I know it's coming from Barton. You know, it's 4 to 6 years old, and it has not, like, I have tasted the other private the private labeled Bartons before, and they've been great. And so I don't know what's going on with the Costco ones, but they're just not doing it for me. Fred, do you keep an infinity bottle? As a matter of fact, I do not keep an infinity bottle. Now, back once upon a time, we just kind of called this a decanter. But you know, in my household, you have to understand my household. So it's my wife and my 2 little boys. And it's not as sexy or organized as you'd imagine. It's a toy here. It's a toy there. It's a whole bunch of bourbon over there. I mean, I've got bourbon all over the place. But the infinity bottle just sounds like a lot of work for my household. And we're doing well if the countertops are clean. And that's the life I live right now. I think when the boys get older, you know, I may pursue that. But as the infinity bottle has come on, I've been raising 2 little boys. And, you know, you have to think about your personal life. Now, my hope is that with this new basement getting finished, that I have a bar where I can hide stuff like that and keep away from the family, you know? Be kind of cool. In the office, you know, this is technically work. Like what you see around me, this is a working studio. So this is an office. And so while I do entertain here, and I'm hoping to have a bigger place soon where I can invite you to come and hang out with me, it is just a tiny little bitty office. So I now am going to eliminate one more. 5 is warming up to me. 1 ain't letting go. Yeah, that banana note in 5 is bananas. It became really pronounced there. I think you have a fundamental question here. Do you like bananas more, or do you like cinnamon more? If you like bananas more, number 5 is is what you want all day. You know, there's a lot of fruit there. There's some savoriness there. There's some nuttiness there. And despite that weird, funky note on the nose, it really delivers on the palate. However, it is very concentrated to like a couple parts of the tongue, whereas 1 is all-encompassing on the palate. What 1 does that 5 does not is kind of palate movement, and it's kind of a classical thought of like putting some kind of spice on your tongue and feeling it throughout. You kind of feel like a snap, crackle, pop around. There actually used to be a chewing gum that you put on your tongue and would snap, crackle, pop all around. And that's what 1 is versus 5. So this is where preference comes in. These are pretty equal, and it's a preference thing, you know. And I like the way that 1 moves around on my tongue a lot more than 5. And I'm always going to choose cinnamon over a banana, unless it's cinnamon on a banana, maybe. Or if I'm in a mood for bananas in that moment, I'd probably pick 5. But today, 5 is out. 5 will be your 4th place finisher. You know, the thing about a tasting is you're a product of your moment. You're a product of the day. You are a product of how you felt going in. And, you know, today was a pretty weird day. I was editing my podcast on Monday will be with Perez Hilton, you know, the famous celebrity gossip columnist. So he and I talked. I sent him a lot of nice bourbons, and I would say it didn't go over so well, you know. And so like editing that was a little awkward for me in some ways. You know, it's usually you send someone some bourbon and they're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. This is so awesome." Just wait till you listen or watch this episode. You'll probably be like, "Why the hell did you send him that, Fred?" And to that point, I would say, "You're right. You're right." Okay, so now we have 3 excellent bourbons here. Glasses 1, glasses 2, glass 4. Now, I do not know what these are. I've got them here in the envelope. My boy Gary Penna, who you can find at Uncut Unfiltered on Instagram, is in the chat box, and he can tell you what each one of these are. In 5th place, we already know it's glass 3. In 4th place, it's glass 5. And I'm going to rest my palate a little bit and answer some more questions. Someone asked a question, what are the price points of these bottles? Oh, boy. Now, price points is never my strong suit, just because I vaguely know SRPs. But when you go into a liquor store, no one's keeping it to the SRP. I can tell you what I paid for these. I paid $109 for this. I paid $50 for this. I don't remember. Allison bought that one. Actually, Allison bought this one too, and that one. And of course, this was a media sample. But hopefully people in the chat can answer that question a little bit more rapidly. Sid Eline asks, how long do you hold a sip before swallowing? Excellent question, Sid. Excellent question. I think it depends on the whiskey. Like this is one where I can't really communicate it. I can only feel it and know it, but it's very different for everyone. And it's kind of like I equate it to like a runner on first base. You know, he does not have a signal from his third base coach to run. He just knows to run because he sees a hitch in the pitcher's like movement. Like he just knows. And I'm the same way. Like some bourbons I know to keep on my palate for longer. Like the bourbons that I don't keep on my palate for very long are typically like the lower proof ones, because like they show themselves very, very quickly. They don't materialize after a little bit. And so I can tell when something is going to materialize. Like glass 1 is one of those where I kept that really long on my palate. Glasses 2 and 4, they just showed themselves right away, and I didn't need to keep them there. So that I think that's a good example of like you can see what a whiskey is pretty quickly. Okay, so this is a question coming in. I don't know who it's from. Fred, what's your number one tasting note you look for when you want good bourbon to pair with a cigar? Great question. Boy. I think, I'm going to have to say sweeter notes. I actually like rum with cigars a little bit more than I do bourbon. But I'm a big fan of when sweetness comes into play. And I got to tell you, we got 3 great cigar potentials here tonight. I will say 2 and 4 are better cigar pairings than 1. But 1 is money when you find a spicy cigar. So I like things that are complementary. or amplify a note in another. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and pare it down. I'm going to go to glass 4. I have no idea what these are, but I will say, like, 4 is amazing. Oh, my God. Oh, that's so good. All right, glass 2. That was spectacular. 2 and 4 are both epic. Epic. But they're epic in a sense that they are caramel bombs and complex throughout. And I think I know where I'm going to go with this. And it's going to break my heart. But I'm going to taste one and see if it's going to stick around. I'll tell you right now, one is the bourbon that I'm buying cases of. 2 and 4, I'm breaking out for special occasions. I want to drink one every single day, and 2 and 4, just if I could drink it every day, I would. But I know that I would get tired of that overpowerful complexity all the time. And I say I would get tired of it because that's all I would ever want. And you can't, when you drink bourbon for a living, or if you're a major fan, you have to temper when you bring in those special bottles. And I would love to be able to drink those special bottles every single day. But then you go to a buddy's house and he doesn't have it. He's got Jack Barrel Proof. You taste it. Jack Barrel Proof's great. It's great stuff. And you're like, that's not what I wanted. So when you get yourself in that kind of mood, you gotta check yourself real quick. And that's why I feel like one is every bit as good as the other two, but it is not one that you can find the flavors in one and other products. You cannot find the flavors in 2 and 4 and other products. One is so good. And it's a champion in its own right. And this back palate action, just pounding the back of my palate with Spice City. It is so good, but unfortunately, we're not here to give honorary awards or anything like that. We have to crown a champion of a tasting here. And 2 and 4 are just neck and neck. They are so good, and unfortunately, they're at another class. So they're at another class than everything else on this table. I don't know what they are. I'm going to find out here in a bit, but I'm going to pour a little bit more here. 4. Yeah, get in there. 4. Oh, boy. This is going longer than I thought it would. I got my computer over here on that side, so if you see me looking over there, it's because I'm looking at the time. But I'm about to come up on an hour, and I wanted to be done about in 45 minutes. So, yeah, you get whiskey in my belly. I'm gonna I'm going to take a little time, you know. I'm going to talk a little bit. It's going to happen. But, you know, life is always better when you do have bourbon in your belly. You know that, right? That's a real thing. You get bourbon in your belly, you're going to be better. So, here we go. Really neck and neck on the nose. I'm going to take some questions. I gotta rest my nose and my palate here. Okay. What's the best place to hunt in Louisville for whiskey? Well, you can go to just about any liquor store here and find a decent selection. I'm a big fan of Westport Whiskey and Wine. You can find Jim's and Kroger, Liquor Barn, Old Town, which is in the Highlands. Our Total Wines here are pretty well stocked, but you know, you also like you go to some holes in the wall, you're gonna be rewarded. You know, this is a town that is flooded with good everyday bourbons that you can't find anywhere else. You want to find Pappy, Blanton's. You want to find limited edition small batch from Four Roses. Forget about it. Just don't come here if you're looking for that stuff. You know, this is where you find everyday stuff that you can't find in other markets. You might find some things like Foregate, which you can't get in other markets. You could possibly find, you know, some of the Rebel Yells and David Nicholson's and things like that you wouldn't get. And more importantly, you get some Kentucky-only products that are not anywhere else. Okay, so another question comes in from Hank Williams Jr. Do certain bourbons bring memories from past experiences? By God, they do. Yes, they do, Hank Williams Jr. The greatest experiences are those with friends, and I can close my eyes and think about the best bourbon I ever had. It was with Jason Bronner at Bourbon's Bistro. It was an Old Crow chest decanter piece, and it was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was absolutely spectacular, and it was at a very important part of my career. So I think about that time often. Jason and I are really good friends, and, you know, I wish I spent more time with him, but, you know, life being life, you know, I can't say enough good things about Bourbon's Bistro. So, and the same with Michael Veach. Like, Michael Veach is one of my dear friends in bourbon, and if you don't have his book, Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey, you know, you're missing out. So I would say, yeah, in, you know, the part of your brain that hosts locations and is also the same place that hosts taste memory. So those tastes are often connected to a particular place for me. Like, for example, Jim Beam White Label, the balcony of a Delta Chi fraternity house at Oklahoma State, kicking that thing up, Wild Turkey, in the back of my ag teacher's truck in Deer Woods, you know, back in the day. Those memories don't go away. And my taste buds remember that same flavor profile in a good way. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people remember things like tequila, and they're like, oh my God, I can't drink tequila again because of college. You know, it has a very opposite effect for me. It's nothing but smiles. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be a battle for taste supremacy. Glass 2. So what I'm doing at this phase, I'm determining where is the action on the palate. How many points on the palate is each one of these bourbons hitting? And I will tell you that 2 is it slightly grazes the tip of the palate at first, and then it's like a bunch of pins hitting the the middle toward the back and just staying there, like playing it like a piano, like boom, 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 boom. And then it curls up underneath and just like butter. Just really beautiful. Glass 2 is just beautiful. Glass 4. All right, so glass 4 does something very different than glass 2. It like jumps up to the roof of my palate. So there's a lot going on the tongue, but instead of curling up underneath like glass 2 does, it jumps up on the top. Now, I can't tell you what causes that. I don't know. I can just tell you that I can feel it, and I know that feeling, and it's very unique. It's very different. Either one of these could win and be what I think is the best for the night. But there can only be one. And I'm going to let my palate rest a little bit more. I apologize for this, kind of going back and forth. But I take this stuff very, very seriously. And I don't want to come into this like with my palate just a little, struggling at a moment. So I want to give this go back to glass 2 in a minute and then make a decision. So here we go. I'm going to go back to the questions here. Sean Dent asks, how do you avoid proof snobbing during taste-offs? Well, believe it or not, like lower proofs often come out hotter than the higher proofs. Now, tonight, we did a pretty good job of making sure everything was pretty close. So there's not anything here that's cask strength. This is 100 proof. This is, 104. Eagle Rare is 101. This is 105. And I don't remember what this is. This is 100. So everything here was pretty close in proof. So we're in good shape there. John Sill, I hope I said that right. How often do you drink Scotch or Irish whiskey? What are your favorites? I drink Redbreast a lot. Big fan of Redbreast. With Scotch, I get moody there. I'm a big Isla fan, but I go in Stents, and Lagavulin just fantastic. But what I find is I'm in a mood and I go there. And I have a lot of Scotch. In fact, I have a 60-year-old Glen Grant that I'm hanging on to. You all will see me taste that soon. I have an 80-year-old Scotch coming up here pretty soon too. So I have a decent amount of Scotch in my life. But yeah. Let's see. Cody asks if the Beatles were a bourbon, what bourbon would it be? Interesting. I was not a Beatles fan until I kind of reached like a certain level of maturity. And then I realized like how the Beatles were just about like love and caring for one another. And I think I was just such a Stones fan, and I was such a fan of bands like Jethro Tull, and the Beatles were just did not have that same level to me. And then when I reached a moment where, I believe that if you can hear something, you can hear it. But if you cannot hear it, like you are not at a maturity level where you can hear something, it'll just fly right over you. And that's what the Beatles were for me for a long time. And then when I'm probably 22 to 25, I'm at a moment where, love matters, and I found the Beatles. And it was a very interesting time in my life. And I remember interviewing Mick Fleetwood about hearing a song that matters to you at a very important point in your life, and it will take you down a very important road. And it was the song Yellow Submarine that did it for me. I can't tell you why, but Yellow Submarine, just hearing that song, I don't know, it like hooked me into the Beatles. But so if the Beatles were a bourbon, I'm thinking of something that needs to be mature. You need to be able to have an appreciation for bourbon to enjoy it. That's going to be hard. I'm going to say a low barrel entry proof product that is north of 12 years old, not bottled at cask strength, cut to probably 190 proof to 100. I know. A Maker's Mark 12-year-old. A Maker's Mark 12-year-old at 101 proof. There you go. There you go, Maker's Mark. There's my quarterly, you need to come out with your 12-year-old bourbon statement, which if you all know the story about that, if you don't know the story about that, just, go into the YouTube and see Bill Samuel's comments on it. It's pretty funny. Okay, so here we go. 2 versus 4. An epic showdown of 2 great bourbons. I've been doing pretty good tonight. I feel good. I love the way 2 smells. All right. I have made my decision. This is a close one, but it's not so close that... Well, hold on. What I am doing right now is I am leaving... You've been seeing me like rinse my mouth, swish something. I'm leaving glass 2 on my palate to see if it's still there when I sip glass 4. And if it is, that's telling us something. All right. So this was a powerful taste off. This was one that I am amazed at how well it went. Like I said, there's only one glass here that did not belong on the table. But when I tasted glass 2, it was almost lights out from that very moment. And I thought that it was probably going to overtake it pretty easily. Then I tasted glass 4. Glass 4 went pound for pound with glass 2. And I knew that glass 2 was where, it was hitting all the right marks. It was hitting all the right points. But glass 4 just kept kind of coming back. And You know, 2 is just it's just a touch above glass 4. And so tonight, your winner is glass 2. And I do not know what I have been tasting. You all know what I've been tasting this whole time. It's in the comment section. I am going to crack this open. Boy, she taped this and like I think she might have put a concrete on this daggum thing. All right, so this is the first time I'm seeing what I'm tasting here. Obviously, the products were selected and I see them, but I don't know what vials they're in. So glass 3. Oh shit, I just dropped a couple. Glass 3, and in last place, a shocker, an absolute shocker, Knob Creek 12-year-old. 5, the Calumet. That's a shocker too. I like that one. 1, Four Roses. Now that one, you know, the cinnamon bomb, you know, kind of had me there. Remus in second place is glass 4. And Eagle Rare, 17-year-old, holds up to tonight's competition. So I did not know what these were. I went off of my taste. But you know, this is the first time that I can think of that Eagle Rare was the Eagle Rare 17-year-old from BTAC did this well for me. I'm actually rather shocked. But this is really, really great bourbon. And I knew it when I tasted it, and you know, I did that review on it earlier. But like I was saying, like this is something that it's probably pretty precious, and I don't know if I'd want to drink this every single day because I would drink it and that would be my expectation of what bourbon should be, and it's simply not a fair assessment because I think glass 1, which was the Four Roses, to me that was the biggest winner tonight. It sounds weird, but the third place one was so good, and it was so powerful in flavor profile, and it's everywhere. It's absolutely, I mean, you can find this. It's fantastic. But when you want to talk about something special, the Remus coming in second was fantastic. But the Eagle Rare that, you know, won it, that came in, it was just absolutely gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I love this so much. And I gotta say, this is the first time in my career that I have been this high on an Eagle Rare 17-year-old product. So how about that? I'm pretty well, you know, I'm pretty well surprised. I am. That being said, this is good shit. So now I'm going to pour myself a little bit more. I'm going to hop on here, and I'm going to be able to take in your questions. I have to hit the comment tab thingy and move some things around. Hopefully I won't unplug you. I do have to worry about that. So bear with me. Well, it looks like I'm gonna go to some. I'm gonna answer a question here while I am trying to set things up. Johnny asked, Fred, how can we find out when you're about to go live before finding the email too late? Well, Johnny, you got to become a subscriber. So become a subscriber, click that notifications button, and that is how you find out. But I am not the best at telling folks how to do the YouTube. All right, here we go. I'm going to try and do this. Do it this way. Here we go. All right, that will qualify as a short workout for the day. Kidding. All right, coming in now to, I'm going to pull up the comments. All right, ham turkey. How do you think Remus 5 beats all the other Eagle Rares besides this one? Yes, no question whatsoever. This Eagle Rare 17-year-old is the exception and not the rule. All Eagle Rare 17-year-olds have been not at this level. Not at this level. Peter B., we had Remus pretty available in Connecticut for about 3 weeks. Then most got bought up. Now, Peter, I understand, according to Danny from Connecticut, that that is kind of like the place where you can't find many things. So I'm grateful that you're able to find that. Not so old granddad. What else do you compare the Four Roses small batch select to? It's funny that you say old granddad, but it would be in that category. It would be. I would actually put the Four Roses that I tasted tonight. I would say a rare breed could be very similar, but it stands in an island. If you like cinnamon, Four Roses small batch select is where it's at. Garrett Leatherwood, although Leatherhead, how about the Marines, right? Got Remus in Texas yesterday. Good week. That is a good week. Kenneth, have you had the Heaven's Door Redbreast? And if so, thoughts? I have not had that yet. I have not done much with Heaven's Door's products, so probably time to visit those again. Kyle Nauer asks, how does this compare to the new Old Forester birthday bourbon? Why, Kyle, I think we got ourselves an old-fashioned taste-off. I'll have to taste off to tell you. And I don't got it in me right now to do the taste-off, but I will. I promise you that. So it looks like we had a lot of folks tuning in tonight. I know at one point we had more than 400 something people in here, and I'm very excited about that. But if you haven't yet, just click the like button. It helps me with the algorithm and all that other stuff. And Nate asked a question: 2 of the top blended mash bills. That is, I don't know if that's a question, Nate. I think that's a comment. Jory says, I'm hunting that Remus 5. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Morizo says, Remus Repeal is such a damn hitter. It's so good. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now I'm going to hop in here and see how folks commented as I was mentioning what I was tasting, because I'm curious about that. Garrett Leatherwood says, fellow Okie and OK State grad, woohoo, go Pokes! Your comment about your ag teacher hit home. My dad has been an Oklahoma ag teacher for 36 years and retiring this year. Winter is going to be our celebration bottle. Wow, Garrett. I'd love to know where your dad taught ag. FFA was very important to me, and it's a big part of my journey. FFA is, if not for the FFA, I don't know what I would have become as a kid. I'll just tell you that right now. But I'd love to know where he taught school. I'd love to, because I'm just hopeful I didn't lose a show against him. Super Dram, thanks, Fred. This was awesome. Big fan of Small Batch Select. Yep, absolutely. Amos, I got one for you. Before tonight, what made you suggest KC12? Do you still feel that it's been here tonight after getting booted so early? Just wondering. Love the show. Amos, this was from the nominations of the subscribers. So the people who watched that video nominated what they thought I should taste this against, and the YouTube members voted on it. Now, this one, I put it forward because it had so many nominations, and YouTube restricts on polling. But I mean, I had it before. It's good. But tonight, it did not show. Fred Smurf. What is the best bourbon for nursing a knee replacement? Off the Oxy. Oh, man. First of all, Mr. Smurf, I appreciate you always commenting. I appreciate that a lot. And I hope your knee gets better. But, yeah, I can't comment on that one. I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm a bourbon guy. Let's see. Nate, good show tonight. Like the platform. Thanks, Nate. I'll see you on the WhatsApp later. Let's see here. Crump. Oh, Crump. Oh, good to see you, Crump. And if you want a cinnamon bomb that's not bourbon, try the regular Stranahan single malt. Good point. Does have some cinnamon notes to it. Let's see here. Brian Prentice, Kentucky only bourbon releases considered must buy. Willett gift shop stuff. Like, just go to the Willett gift shop and be like, what do you got that I can't get anywhere else? Going to a liquor store, Heaven Hill 6-year-old green label. That's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, Eric says, let's hear about the Repeal Day events. So that's right. I've got a virtual event coming up called Repeal Day Expo. Go to repealdayexpo.com. It's in Deggy World. And we're going to be partying like it's 1933. But, I think I'm kind of worn out here. Gary, hey everybody, how about it for Gary Penna? So Gary, who of course is at Uncut Unfiltered on Instagram, gave you all the comments for the night, gave you all or sent over your comments for the night, and he gave you all the bottle numbers as I was tasting them. So how about a shout out for Gary as I kind of close out tonight? Big shout out to Gary, and I want to say too, like, as I close out, I'm going to say a big thank you to everybody who serves in the military. Thank you to all those who are veterans. You know, tonight we lost a great one. We lost the great Colin Powell. So make sure you pour Colin Powell, General Powell, a little bit of something. And Garrett's getting in here telling me that his dad taught a drum right for 10 years and finished in Edmond. I'll be darned. So I grew up in Jones there, Garrett. And I never lost a show or a speech to someone from Drum Right. Actually, Drum Right I did. Drum Right is where we had a state officer from Drum Right. Greg something. Anyway, he kicked my ass in speech. But never lost anyone from Edmond because they were in my district. I always beat Edmond. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week. Be safe out there, folks. And, we're coming up on Halloween, so make sure you're living your life spooky. And remember, vodka sucks unless it's being used for hand sanitizer. Cheers, everybody. Woo!